Hi, I'm Annelore. Welcome to our new vlog. Today we're gonna talk about my favorite topic, and that's building products with purpose. I love building products. I couldn't imagine doing anything else. I love the focus and teamwork, and I really enjoy turning ideas into practice. I also love the fact that it's never finished. You're constantly trying to improve and learning new things. Over the years, I have learned though that there's a huge difference between building any old product and building a product that people will really love. Let's think of a product, say an app on your phone. I'm thinking of Uber Eats, an app you can use to order food and get it delivered to your home. What makes that product great for me is that it's easy to use, lots of choice, good quality restaurants, I can easily pay online, and I can track the delivery people so I know exactly when they'll get to my house. The things I'm describing here are outcomes. Outcomes are the things that happen after the product comes out. It's what I can do with it as a customer and the value it creates for me. There's one thing I didn't say though, and I didn't say finished on time. And it's obvious why. I'm not gonna love a product because it's finished on time. I don't care. I just want it to solve my problem and make my life easier.
The sad thing is that most organizations are focusing on finishing on time instead of focusing on the value a product can create for the customer. Success is measured by finishing on time and by delivering an output, and that's exactly how you risk building terrible products. If finishing on time becomes the goal, then you launch the feature, you have a party and you move on. There's no room for insights, for feedback, or even finding out whether you're achieving the expected results. It's also a high-risk strategy because you build and build and build until it's done, and then you move over to the next thing, but there's no room for new insights or learnings or getting the feedback from the customer. Now you might be thinking you need output to get outcomes, to deliver value for your customer. And that's definitely true. The key question is though, how do you do that? How do you build products your customers will love? As Stephen Covey says, you need to start with the end in mind. You need to know what success looks like. And for nearly all companies, success equals making a profit. The tricky thing is defining how you make that profit. You can either enter a new market, target a different segment of customers, or do something particularly better than your competitor.
This is where you define your purpose, a high-level and long-term view of where you're going. To go back to the Uber Eats example, their purpose is to make eating well effortless for everyone, everywhere. Your purpose is like the top of a mountain range, somewhere you aspire to get to in 5 years' time. The challenge is to connect that top of your mountain range to the bottom, which is where your teams are. Let me show you how to do this. You start by deciding the first peak of the mountain range you need to climb. This is your key challenge and the first business goal you need to achieve on the way to your purpose. For instance, which part of your customer journey do you need to optimize first? For Uber Eats, this could be to deliver food to customers in less than 30 minutes within the next 2 years. This peak or business goal is immediately linked to an outcome, something that creates value to me as a customer. For instance, I'm happy when my food arrives quickly. Once you've decided on the first peak of the mountain range you want to climb, you need to find the best path to get there. You do that by breaking up this peak into smaller problems, anchor points, that you need to tackle along the way. Those anchor points are defined as measurable and achievable targets, and together they create the best path to the mountain peak. For Uber Eats, an anchor point could be that they need to have sufficient delivery drivers in a specific location. And more specifically, even their anchor point could be to onboard at least one delivery rider for every 100 customers. Finally, you look at your current position, where you actually are versus the first anchor point. This should be measured and quantified so you can track progress when you work your way up the path. It's important to know that product teams operate at the anchor point level. Instead of just being given features to implement, they're responsible to find out what user problems they need to tackle and what's stopping them from getting to that next anchor point and eventually reaching the peak of the mountain.
For the Uber Eats example, maybe they don't have enough riders because the sign-up process is too complex. Enabling the team to experiment and find a solution themselves is completely different to telling them what to do and telling them they need to change the layout of the sign-up screen. In which case you're asking them to deliver an output without truly understanding the outcome they're trying to achieve. When building products with purpose, you connect that long-term view with your day-to-day work. It gives people direction and empowers them to build products customers will love. We would love to hear your thoughts on building products with purpose, so please share or leave your feedback in the comments. If you want to stay posted for new content, you can follow us on LinkedIn or subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, take care and see you next time. Bye.